Pinocchio. One night, a long time ago, as the stars were shining high above the rooftops, a little cricket named Jiminy Cricket found himself in the shop of an old woodcarver named Geppetto. Geppetto was completing his latest creation, a little puppet boy he named Pinocchio. That night, before going to bed, Geppetto saw a shooting star in the sky and wished with all his might, "I wish that my little Pinocchio might be a real boy." As Geppetto slept, the blue fairy appeared through the window. "Good Geppetto, you have given so much happiness to others. You deserve to have your wish come true. A little puppet made of pine, wake, the gift of life is thine." With a touch of her wand upon his forehead, Pinocchio came to life. "Am I a real boy?" Pinocchio asked. "No, Pinocchio," the fairy answered. "To make Geppetto's wish come true will be entirely up to you. Prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish, and one day you'll be a real boy." To help Pinocchio learn the difference between right and wrong, the blue fairy asked Jiminy Cricket to act as Pinocchio's conscience, or his voice of reason. Together, they decided whether Pinocchio needed advice. All he had to do was whistle, and Jiminy Cricket would come. As the blue fairy left, she said, "Be a good boy, and always let your conscience be your guide." When Geppetto woke to find Pinocchio moving and talking, he thought he was dreaming. But soon he realized that his wish had come true. Pinocchio had come to life. He was so happy that he spun Pinocchio around the room, dancing and singing, and introduced him to his cat Figaro and his fish Cleo. They all snuggled into bed to sleep. The next morning, Pinocchio woke excited. It was his first day of school. He skipped to his class along with his schoolmates. On his way, he ran into Honest John and Gideon. They tried to convince him to become an actor in Stromboli's popular puppet show instead of going to school. Jiminy Cricket was late that day and arrived just in time to see them all skip off. He whistled to get Pinocchio's attention. "Remember what I said about temptation? Well, that's him," the cricket said. But Pinocchio ignored him and left. Later, Stromboli had a sold-out show at the theater. Everyone wanted to see Pinocchio, the only puppet that could sing and dance without strings. After the show, Pinocchio said that he wanted to go home to his father Geppetto, but Stromboli locked him in a cage. "You will make lots of money for me," Stromboli said, "and when you are growing too old, you will make good firewood." Pinocchio began to cry. But just then, the blue fairy appeared. She asked Pinocchio why he hadn't gone to school that day. "I met somebody. 2 big monsters with green eyes," Pinocchio lied. His nose suddenly grew. With every lie, it grew bigger and bigger until it became an entire branch with a nest of baby birds in it. "You see, Pinocchio, a lie keeps growing and growing until it is plain as the nose on your face," the blue fairy told him. She helped him escape, but she said that was the last time she could help him out of trouble. Honest John and Gideon told their friend the coachman about meeting Pinocchio that day. The coachman was collecting disobedient boys who played hooky from school. On his way home, Pinocchio ran into Honest John again. He convinced Pinocchio to go to Pleasure Island, leaving Jiminy behind. Pinocchio got to the coach with a bunch of other boys, including one named Lampwick. Lampwick was excited to go to Pleasure Island because he heard that there would be no school or cops there. He could lounge around all day. After a long journey, the boys arrived at Pleasure Island. It was an exciting place with no rules, full of carnival rides and all the junk food they could eat. Being bad's a lot of fun, ain't it? Pinocchio said. Pinocchio was having so much fun that he refused to leave when Jiminy came to take him home. Upset with him for not doing the right thing, Jiminy stormed off, leaving Pinocchio behind. As Jiminy was leaving the island, he stumbled upon dark figures loading donkeys into crates by the docks. Jiminy looked at their familiar faces and realized that all the little boys had turned into donkeys, and Pinocchio was no exception. He sprouted ears and a tail before Jiminy could rush back to save him. They jumped into the sea at the last moment before Pinocchio could turn into a donkey and swam all the way to safety on the other side. Pinocchio and Jiminy were so happy to finally be going home. But when they got home, Geppetto was nowhere to be found. Just then, a note appeared from the sky. It said Geppetto had gone looking for Pinocchio and had been swallowed by a whale named Monstro, who lived at the bottom of the sea. Pinocchio rushed off at once to save his father. He jumped into the ocean and sank to the bottom. He was soon swallowed by the whale and found Geppetto safe in the whale's belly. They were so happy to see each other again, but didn't know how they would escape. Suddenly, Pinocchio had a plan. They would make Monstro sneeze. They built a fire in the whale's belly, and smoke caused the whale to give out one big loud sneeze, which shoved them out into the ocean. Monstro was incredibly angry to have been tricked. He chased after them. Pinocchio tried with all his might to face the waves and drag Geppetto safely to the shore, but their raft was destroyed and Pinocchio was hurt. When Geppetto awoke on the shore, he found Pinocchio face down in the water. Geppetto tenderly carried him home. Everyone was sad, because it looked like Pinocchio was gone forever. But because he had proved himself brave, truthful, and unselfish, the Blue Fairy used her magic to make Geppetto's wish come true. Pinocchio became a real boy. Geppetto laughed and twirled his son, Pinocchio high in the air, and the two lived happily ever after as father and son. The end.